Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. Elvis is around here somewhere, however, it's extremely hot, so I think he's hiding under a table or under the bed, which is where he likes to go when it gets too hot. I hope it's not too hot where you are, but it is the summer, of course, and I guess unfortunately it's what we have to expect. So, I'm coming to you today with a book haul. I've been very lucky the last couple of months. I've slowly collected a few books. Maybe it was too small at each time to do a video on a book haul each time I got them, so I've collected them together and thought I would just do them in one video. As part of June on the Range, I was able to get a hold of the first volume and the second volume of Louis L'Amour's collected short stories. I have read a few in this one, and actually it's very interesting because the first story in this collection is The Gift of Cochise, and it is the story that the film Hondo is based on. Now, I know what you're thinking. Louis L'Amour wrote a book called Hondo. He did indeed. However, the book Hondo is a novelization of the film, which itself is based on the short story The Gift of Cochise, which is in here. So there are, of course, some similarities and some changes. Yeah, I wouldn't say... Well, there are a couple maybe of significant changes when you compare the short story to the later novel. I haven't yet seen the film. I really should do. But it's a wonderful collection. There's like 35 stories in here and around the same again in this one. So it's really good, and it wasn't very expensive at all. And what's really nice about it is I got it here in the Czech Republic. So it shows that, Louis L'Amour is everywhere. You can actually buy, from the shop I looked at, you can actually buy German and Czech translations of his work. So it shows he really does get around. But June on the Range is almost over. I'm almost done. But it's been fantastic. It really has. And, I'm sure it will take place again next year. So, I'm well prepared. I might get a couple more if possible. I've got a birthday coming up, so that would be lovely to add to those volumes there. The next couple of books I received yesterday, actually. A very good friend and neighbour of mine. She was on a business trip to Ireland, and she stopped off at Heathrow Airport in London on her way back. And she sent me some photos from the bookshop and said, choose a couple of books. And I did. So that was really nice. And she brought back for me one Robinson Crusoe, Penguin Classics edition, which was nice. And also I really wanted to read it, especially after doing the Desert Island Books episode with Sean D. Standfast. I wanted to choose a few books that were set on islands, but I hadn't read this one, so I didn't want to take the risk, or run the risk rather, of adding it and then not liking it. So I do plan to read this over the summer. It's not a very big book, and I think it'll be great fun, and it is, I believe, widely regarded as one of the first proper novels in English, so that will be really exciting. It's a story I think, of course, everybody knows. They've probably seen films or whatever, but it'd be really nice to read the proper book. Next is another book I've wanted to read for a while. And I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I won't give it away because I know they like to announce what the reads are, but it will be coming up at some time later in the year. And it's the book The Five, The Untold Lives of the Women Killed by Jack the Ripper by Haley Rubenhold. And I've come across Miss Rubenhold before, and she's been on this channel before. Obviously not in person, but one of her books, or a book she edited, which was Harris's Guide to Covent Garden Ladies, which was a book or a directory of all the prostitutes that inhabited Covent Garden between the end of the 18th century and the first half of the 19th century, or at least the first 2 decades of the 19th century. I've always been very interested in Jack the Ripper and Ripperology. I haven't read so much about it in recent years, but certainly in my teenage years, I found it extremely fascinating. I really did enjoy the 80s, I think it was around 87, 88 miniseries with Michael Caine as Inspector Abberline, and I think that was partly what set me off on an interest in this field. Although, of course, the hypothesis put forward, would have been deemed to have been not true. It is still a very good and entertaining, if that's the right word, but it filled a couple of hours. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, if you've read it, let me know what you think, because I think it's going to be a really good book, that. And next up, bizarrely, I'd chosen another book about Russia, which was by Martin Sixsmith. And unfortunately, by the time my friend went back to buy it, someone else had already bought it. So she picked up this one instead. It's a short history of Russia by Mark Galeotti. And I've read Mr. Galeotti's book about Putin, Vladimir Putin. I don't know if it was a short history of Vladimir Putin. I can't remember the name of it. But again, it was a short book and it was very well written. And I have the feeling this will also be just as good. Now, you can see it is really a short history. I mean, Russia would have, you could fill volumes probably on the history of Russia. So, that will also probably be read over the summer holidays. Next, I have another edition of an old favourite, which is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. And I really wanted to try these word cloud classics. I don't know if you can see. Unfortunately, the camera isn't the best. But it's much easier to record from the webcam than keep setting up my mobile and things like that. And especially during, I'm having to record this during the working days, so it's possible it could get interrupted. And they've got excerpts from the book on there, or characters from the book. Each of these classics has a nice logo or symbol related to the book. Here, if you can make it out, is a skull and crossbones, and it's a plasticky leather, but it's nice. It's nice to feel, and it's very flexible. I think they call it flexi binding, and it's very nice quality. The paper it's printed on is really nice. It feels thick. It's not flimsy at all, and it does have very nice inlay there. You can see it, which certainly makes me happy. So yeah, did I really need another copy of Treasure Island? Maybe not, but this is one that I know I can hold on to and read and reread, and it should stay in relatively good condition. So yeah, that would be good. And the next couple are also from the same company. This I think it's Canterbury Classics, but they have this line called Word Cloud Classics. So the next is Tarzan of the Apes and the Return of Tarzan. In this one we have a nice gorilla, if you can see that there. I don't know if it's clear or not, but again, same feel to it. And I've never read Tarzan. I've seen it mentioned or talked about on Michael K. Vaughan's channel quite a lot, and it's certainly something I want to read. And again, I hope to read it over the summer holidays. I always seem to have good luck reading classics when I read them over the summer. I get quite a few put away, and I had a great summer a few years ago reading Count of Monte Cristo, rereading Treasure Island, reading Wind in the Willows, and Jungle Book and all sorts, and it was fantastic. So I hope to repeat that this year. And the next one's slightly different in terms of the material. It's more kind of suede-y feeling, and it's Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And again, it has a really nice cover. It has some it's not blurb, it's a quotation from the book on the back. And yeah, it's very soft actually, this. I really like it. And again, it has a nice inlay. Probably you're curious maybe at what the inlay of Tarzan is actually, so I could show you that as well. And it is a picture of Tarzan, so there you go. But yeah, this looks really nice, and I do really like the way these are flexible, and the thickness. I don't know if you can hear that. The thickness and quality of the paper is really, really fantastic. So I'm going to look forward to reading that. I haven't read it before, and I wonder, have any of you read? I know a lot of people read Les Miserables, but I haven't seen too many people talk about The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So if you've read it, let me know if it's worth my time. I hope so. I hope so now after I bought it, of course, but we'll go on. And a big event, of course, coming up next month is Jane Austen July. T-shirts still available. If you want to buy some, I will put them in a link below. It's her name with the same portrait in different styles, and then her signature underneath. There's lots of colours available as well. They are unfortunately from Amazon at the moment, but I do have other authors and plans to do more with another website. But it brings me to, of course, the next book I hauled, which is Jane Austen, The Complete Novels, and it is a Penguin Deluxe edition with the deckled edges and the French flaps. The print is a fairly reasonable size, certainly for me. I wouldn't have a problem to it. It's quite sturdy. I'm not sure if I'd really want to read it in bed, maybe, but it is a very nice book. I was thinking to buy the box set from the Word Cloud Classics, but as someone who's very new to Jane Austen, I only read my first one last year. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, spend the money. This was half the price, so I thought it'd be a good starting point. I haven't decided fully which Jane Austen I am going to read for Jane Austen July, but it will probably be Pride and Prejudice, I think, because it's one everybody has told me to read. So we'll see if I'm a good boy and listen to other people's advice, or whether I break from that and go for Emma. But I think there's quite a few in here. It's not just the normal ones that I would have got in the box set as well. There's Lady Susan is here as well, which isn't in the box set. Probably, I'm guessing it's an unfinished work, but yeah, it's a big book. But the next books are also quite big, and they are also collections of works by one author. This one we have a nice leather-bound edition of Robert Louis Stevenson, including 7 of his novels. The novels included inside are Treasure Island, Prince Otto, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Kidnapped, The Black Arrow, The Master of Ballantrae, and David Balfour. This is from Canterbury Classics, so it's the same company that makes the Word Cloud books. They do these nice and inexpensive leather, probably faux leather, I would imagine, books, but they're nice. They're nice quality. I mean, it's nicely bound. The pages, they've got the gilt edging on them, and in this Robert Louis Stevenson book, the paper is a little bit thin, but it's not as bad as some, and it would be perfectly readable. And I think it's not so thin that I feel it would break, but there is a slight hint of the the text on other pages. But it also has a fantastic inlay there, if you can see it. So I think that'll be fun to dip in and out of. Obviously, Treasure Island is a book I know well. I have read Kidnapped. I probably have touched on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I want to say I've read it, but I can't be 100% sure. But the rest I haven't. And, obviously I have no problem at all with reading and rereading Treasure Island anyway, so in whatever edition I've got. And the penultimate book of this haul is also Canterbury Classics, and it's selected works of Jack London, also in this nice faux leather binding. It's very nice to hold, very nice to feel. It includes The Call of the Wild, The Sea Wolf, White Fang, and other stories, and there's quite a lot of other stories actually. Quite a big collection of short stories in here. At least maybe 20, I would say. So that's good. It also has a very nice inlay depicting the Alaskan wilderness, And in this one, the pages are thicker, which is nice. They feel a bit sturdier. Yeah, and I think that would be fun. I've never read Jack London. I've been very curious. I've always been worried because of, being an animal lover and, having dogs. I've always been worried that the stories would prove to be too sad. But, it seems silly to avoid a wonderful and well-loved, beloved classic just for that reason alone. So, again, hope to at least get through some of the short stories, or maybe one of the bigger names from this book during the summer. And the last one is another nice book, hard book, and it's by Arcturus Publishing, and it's H.G. Wells' collection here. Very nice hardcover with this picture of Martian, I don't know if it's a robot or what is it, craft from the War of the Worlds, and it holds 3 of his stories, The War of the Worlds, The Time Machine, and The Invisible Man. And it's got this nice kind of silver edges to the pages, and the pages in here are lovely thickness. The pages are whiter than the others. The others are more of the creamier, yellower shade, which maybe I prefer a little bit, but the text and things is really, really fine, and I think it's a lovely book, really. And again, very inexpensive. The wonderful thing sometimes when you buy books in the Czech Republic is that I think they buy a lot of different stock, and then they don't sell them, and then they sell them cheaper to get rid of it, to clear the stock. And that does work out well for someone like me, because it was certainly much cheaper than the £20 price that's listed from the UK, at least half that. So yeah. Okay, that's my haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do let me know in the comments if you have any interest in any of these books, if you've enjoyed them, if you've read them, if you want to read them. Also, if you have any recommendations. So, for example, if you think I should read another Victor Hugo or another Edgar Rice Burroughs or Jack London, or whoever, any of the books mentioned, then do let me know below. And once again, if you do, or if you are interested, you can of course buy one of these amazing t-shirts designed by myself from the link below. So thank you very much. Do keep cool and have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you all again soon. Take care, everybody. From Elvis and I. Bye.
Da da da